It's something we probably all take for granted. But have you ever really considered what goes into making sure that the medicine you pick up from the pharmacy is safe and effective?
Right.
Or, that the food on your plate isn't going to make you sick? Or that a medical device someone relies on will actually do its job?
Hmm.
Today on the deep dive, we're going to, pull back the curtain on a crucial process that operates largely behind the scenes, FDA inspections. And we're tailoring this specifically for you to really understand how this works because, as you'll see, the approach isn't the same across different industries.
That's right. The FDA's role touches so many aspects of our lives, ensuring the safety and efficacy of, well, drugs, food, medical devices.
Everything.
Yeah, basically. And what's fascinating is that their inspection strategy isn't a one-size-fits-all deal. It's actually quite nuanced, carefully designed to address the specific challenges within each of these vital sectors.
Exactly. It's not just some routine checklist, and
Yeah.
when things go wrong, the consequences can be really significant for everyone.
Definitely.
Take Ranbaxy Laboratories in the pharmaceutical world. They faced massive fines for serious manufacturing failures.
Yeah, I remember that. Huge fines.
Or think about the New England Compounding Center, where contaminated products led to a truly devastating meningitis outbreak that really highlighted just how critical robust food safety protocols are.
Absolutely devastating. A real wake-up call.
And even with medical devices, we've seen the FDA issue warning letters, like the one to DexCom, over manufacturing defects that raised, real concerns about the safety of their devices for patients.
Those examples really bring home why understanding the intricacies of FDA inspections is so important for you, the listener. For the companies involved, it's about navigating a complex regulatory landscape effectively. But for all of us, it's about having confidence that the products we depend on are being held to the highest possible standards. This raises a fundamental question. What are the core differences in how the FDA approaches its oversight across these essential areas?
That's exactly what we're here to explore today. We're going to take a deep dive into FDA inspections in the pharmaceutical, food, and medical device sectors. Our mission is to extract the key elements of these inspections, revealing the subtle yet absolutely critical distinctions in what the FDA is looking for, and perhaps more importantly, why.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the world of pharmaceuticals.
Okay. So when the FDA inspects pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities, you'll find that the process is incredibly thorough. The primary goal is always to guarantee the safety and, crucially, the effectiveness of the medications being produced. For you,
Right.
there are several key areas that receive intense scrutiny.
Right. So the first area of concern is the chemical composition of the drugs.
Okay.
The FDA wants to be absolutely certain that both the active ingredients, the ones that, actually treat the condition, and the inactive ingredients, the fillers and binders, meet very specific, rigorously defined standards.
Exactly. It's not just identifying what they are, but ensuring purity, consistency, batch after batch.
Consistency is key.
What's fascinating here is the remarkable level of detail involved in this verification. The FDA employs highly sophisticated testing methods to detect even the slightest deviations from those established standards. And this is absolutely critical because even a seemingly minor change in the chemical makeup of a drug could have significant, potentially harmful consequences for your health. It could affect absorption, interactions, safety.
Yeah, you really don't want any surprises there.
Mhm.
And it doesn't stop at just the ingredients themselves, right?
Yeah.
The FDA also takes a very close look at the entire manufacturing process, making sure companies follow current good manufacturing practices, cGMPs.
Right, cGMPs. That might sound like jargon, but it's essentially a comprehensive set of regulations, guidelines, ensuring drugs are consistently produced in a controlled, safe environment.
Gold standard, you said.
Think of it that way, yeah.
Yeah.
Gold standard for making medicine. Because even tiny errors during manufacturing can have serious consequences for patients like you. These guidelines dictate everything from air quality to detail employee records. Everything. They ensure consistent quality, prevent contamination at every stage. Inspectors will meticulously review these practices, make sure they're followed to the letter.
Okay. And finally, the FDA is deeply concerned with therapeutic effectiveness. It's not enough for a drug to be made right. It has to work right and be safe long-term.
Exactly. This involves a very thorough evaluation of the clinical evidence supporting the drug's efficacy before approval and through ongoing post-marketing surveillance reports.
So they keep watching even after it's on the market.
Oh, yeah. They're looking for solid proof the drug treats the condition, that side effects are understood, manageable, and, outweighed by the benefits for patients like you.
We actually saw a recent example, didn't we, with Thermo Fisher Scientific's plant in Greenville. They were under scrutiny for non-compliance issues related to preventing contamination during Beyfortus production. That's the RSV drug for infants.
Yeah, and what's particularly important about that example for you to note is that the FDA, through its inspection, identified potential issues proactively.
Before anyone got hurt.
Exactly, and the company addressed those concerns to the FDA's satisfaction. Thankfully, no patient harm is reported, which really highlights the preventative power of these rigorous inspections.
So how often do these pharmaceutical inspections typically happen? Is it like every year or?
Well, the frequency is determined using a risk-based approach. The FDA considers the facility's compliance history, the complexity of the drugs they make, and the potential public health impact if something went wrong.
Makes sense.
So facilities making higher risk meds or, those with a history of non-compliance, they're likely to face more frequent inspections. It's about allocating resources where the potential for harm is greatest.
Right. Focusing efforts.
And the higher bar for pharmaceuticals, for instance, acknowledges the direct, immediate impact these products have on individual health, often in vulnerable populations, like yourself, perhaps.
That makes a lot of sense. Focus resources where they have the biggest impact. And what specific methods do inspectors use when they're actually on site?
They use a range of methodologies. A big part is examining manufacturing records. They need comprehensive documentation showing the company follows its established, approved procedures consistently.
Proof is in the paperwork.
And the lab results. Inspectors meticulously review those results to independently verify purity, strength, overall quality of the drugs.
So it's not just looking around the plant, it's a deep dive into the data, the records.
Yeah. And they also evaluate the quality control procedures used throughout production. This helps ensure product integrity from raw materials all the way to the finished medication you might get.
Got it.
As we mentioned, all these methods aim to ensure strict compliance with cGMPs, those fundamental standards for manufacturing facilities controls, essential for guaranteeing safety and accurate labeling.
And what's the overarching legal framework for all this pharma regulation?
The cornerstone is the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, the FD&C Act. That's the primary legislation governing drug safety and effectiveness. Under this act, companies have to prove their drugs are safe and effective through rigorous clinical trials before marketing them to you. This also includes showing ongoing GMP compliance and continuous post-approval monitoring, all overseen by the FDA's Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, CDER.
Okay, that gives us a really solid understanding of pharma inspections. Now, let's switch gears and talk about food. Obviously, ensuring food safety is a massive undertaking, affects every single one of us. What's the primary focus for FDA food inspections?
In the food sector, FDA inspections are fundamentally centered on ensuring the food supply is safe and secure for you, the consumer. The key areas focus on overall safety and quality, production practices, and facility sanitation.
Okay, safety and quality. What specifically are inspectors looking for there?
They're primarily focused on confirming food is free from harmful contaminants and meets nutritional requirements. This involves comprehensive testing for potential hazards, dangerous pathogens like E. coli, salmonella.
A usual suspect.
Right. Also, chemical residues from pesticides, cleaning agents, any other harmful substances that could get into the food supply and impact your health.
And I imagine how food is actually produced is also under major scrutiny.
Absolutely. The FDA meticulously evaluates procedures and processes food facilities use to prevent foodborne illnesses. A really significant piece of legislation here is the Food Safety Modernization Act, or FSMA.
FSMA.
This law mandates proactive preventive controls. So instead of just reacting to problems, facilities must identify potential hazards and put effective measures in place to minimize or eliminate those risks before they can harm you.
So hazard analysis, risk-based controls.
Exactly, throughout their operations.
It's really about anticipating problems, putting safeguards in place, not just cleaning up messes.
Precisely. And then there's the absolutely crucial aspect of facility sanitation. Inspectors focus heavily on assessing overall cleanliness and maintenance to prevent contamination.
Like checking sanitation procedures.
Verifying those procedures are followed, that effective pest control is in place, keeping rodents, insects out, and that all employees follow strict hygiene standards to prevent spreading pathogens that could contaminate your food.
It's important to remember, too, the FDA isn't the only agency here, right?
That's correct. The USDA, the Department of Agriculture, also plays a very significant role. While the FDA oversees about 78% of the food supply, dairy, seafood, fruits, veggies, processed foods.
Most of it.
Yeah, most.
Yeah.
The USDA is primarily responsible for meat, poultry, and egg products. So it's a collaborative effort to ensure the safety of pretty much everything you eat.
And how often can food facilities expect an FDA inspection? Is that risk-based, too?
Yes, the frequency for food safety is also mandated by FSMA based on a risk classification. Domestic facilities considered non-high risk have a minimum inspection interval of 3 years,
Okay.
while high-risk facilities are inspected at least once every 5 years. This targeted approach lets the FDA allocate resources strategically to facilities and foods posing the greatest potential public health risk.
And what methodologies do inspectors use during these food safety inspections?
Well, inspectors thoroughly evaluate the food safety controls, hygiene, handling, temperature controls to prevent contamination.
Standard practices.
They also conduct detailed reviews of records, sourcing ingredients, processing, distribution. This lets them trace products back if needed and spot risks in the supply chain.
Traceability is huge.
Absolutely. And of course, on-site evaluations are critical. Inspectors visit facilities, observe actual operations, ensure safety protocols are being followed in practice by employees.
So it's multifaceted, looking at systems, records, data, and watching what's actually happening on the floor.
Exactly. The goal is always to proactively detect potential contamination sources and verify safety levels are consistently met to protect you and other consumers from foodborne illnesses.
And the broader regulatory framework, we mentioned FSMA.
The primary legal framework is, again, the FD&C Act. But FSMA from 2011 significantly expanded FDA authority and shifted the focus firmly towards prevention,
Right, the preventive controls.
mandating hazard evaluation, risk-based strategies. And it's interesting, there are ongoing efforts to strengthen oversight, like a proposed change to the generally recognized as safe, or GRAS, rule.
Oh, what's that about?
The aim is to boost transparency and FDA oversight of new food ingredients. It would require mandatory public notification and submitting detailed safety info. This was recently highlighted by Reuters, showing how food safety regs keep evolving to better protect you.
That sounds like a potentially significant change for new ingredients. Okay, we've covered pharma and food. Let's move to the third critical area. Medical devices, another sector where safety and effectiveness are absolutely paramount. What are the key focuses for FDA inspections of device manufacturers?
When it comes to medical devices, FDA inspections primarily focus on ensuring devices are safe for patients and perform exactly as intended. Two main areas get close attention: the manufacturer's quality systems and the actual functionality and safety of the devices themselves.
Let's start with quality systems. What does that mean for medical devices?
It involves a thorough examination of the manufacturer's entire quality management system. The FDA wants to be sure a company has established and consistently maintains robust systems for reliable production of safe and effective devices for your use.
So reviewing documentation.
Comprehensive review, yes. Documentation on design controls how the device is developed, manufacturing processes, and any corrective actions taken to fix and prevent issues. This is all mandated by the Quality System Regulation 21 CFR Part 820.
So a well-defined, documented, consistently followed process for every stage, from design through manufacturing, even handling post-market issues.
Precisely. And the second critical focus is the functionality and safety of the devices themselves. The FDA needs confidence these devices will operate as intended without harming patients like you.
How do they check that?
Through a comprehensive review of design validation, ensuring the design meets user needs, the processes to identify and mitigate potential risks, and ongoing post-market surveillance to catch any safety concerns that emerge after the device is out there.
And inspection frequency for device manufacturers. Also risk-based.
Yes, it is. Depends on the risk classification of the devices produced and the manufacturer's compliance history. The FDA aims to inspect some domestic plants every 2 years.
Aims.
Well, resource limitations can sometimes affect hitting that target consistently. But like with pharma and food, facilities making higher-risk devices generally get inspected more frequently.
Okay. And what specific methods do inspectors use for medical devices?
A key tool is the Quality System Inspection Technique, or QSIT. It's a systematic, standardized approach to assess the manufacturer's overall quality management system.
QSIT.
Under QSIT, inspectors review design controls, confirming devices meet patient needs and clinical objectives. They inspect production processes, ensuring consistent manufacturing to specs and quality standards. And a critical part is assessing the corrective and preventive action system, KPA.
Right. Fixing and preventing problems.
Exactly. The FDA evaluates how a company identifies and resolves quality issues, and crucially, how they implement preventative measures so those issues don't recur, safeguarding patients like you.
So QSIT provides a structured way to examine all the critical elements of a manufacturer's quality system that contribute to device safety and effectiveness.
Exactly. It's a comprehensive, systematic process addressing key subsystems to assure that the devices you and others rely on are safe and function properly.
And finally, the regulatory landscape for medical devices.
Similar to drugs and food, it's under the FD&C Act, with specifics in Title 21 of the Code of Federal Regulations. Devices are classified into 3 categories based on patient risk.
Class 1, 2, 3.
Right. Class 1 is low risk, like tongue depressors, subject to general controls. Class 2 is moderate risk infusion pumps, may be subject to general and special controls. And Class 3 is high-risk pacemakers, implantable defibrillators requiring pre-market approval. All companies, regardless of class, must comply with quality system regulations covering design, manufacturing, CAPA requirements. And the FDA branch overseeing device approval and monitoring is the Center for Devices and Radiological Health, CDRH.
So we've really taken a comprehensive look at FDA inspections across pharmaceuticals, food, and medical devices. Considering everything, what's the most important single takeaway for you, our listener?
The central point I'd want you to understand is that the FDA employs a highly nuanced and remarkably responsive regulatory strategy. They fully recognize a one-size-fits-all approach just wouldn't work, not with the complexities and distinct risks of pharma impacting individual health, the vast food supply, and the sophisticated tech and medical devices critical for patient care.
It really comes down to tailoring the approach to the specific challenges and risks in each sector, doesn't it?
Precisely. By carefully customizing inspection plans, methods, frequencies to address the unique risks in each industry, the FDA aims to foster both compliance and a collaborative environment supporting safety and innovation in these fields that affect your well-being.
And for the companies operating in these fields, what's critical for them regarding inspections?
It's absolutely crucial for manufacturers to cultivate a deep, comprehensive understanding of these specific, often intricate regulatory landscapes. This knowledge is essential to navigate requirements successfully, proactively anticipate and prevent issues, and ultimately consistently deliver high-quality, safe, effective products to the market for your benefit.
So in the final analysis, this diligent, ongoing monitoring, coupled with the essential collaboration between the FDA and industry, it's truly vital for advancing public health and maintaining the trust consumers like us place in these essential products we rely on daily.
Absolutely. It's a continuous, evolving process of oversight and improvement. It underpins the safety and efficacy of the products you depend on for your health and well-being.
Well, thank you for taking this really insightful deep dive with us into the complexities of FDA inspections.
My pleasure. It's important stuff.
It really is. And now, for a final thought for you to consider. Given the varying inspection frequencies and distinct methods the FDA uses across pharma, food, and medical devices, what does this tell you about where the greatest potential risks to public health might lie? And how might these critical regulatory systems need to continue to adapt and evolve in the future to proactively address those risks and ensure the continued safety and effectiveness of these essential products impacting all our lives?
That's a great question to ponder.
It's certainly something to think about,
Yeah.
and perhaps even explore further by visiting the FDA website or delving into related research. Until our next deep dive.